Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your perpetually late host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Now, I ended up being out sick just about all of last week, and I even tried to record an apology video, but that kind of went south on me, and even that wasn't really any good to put up. But today I am back, hopefully going to catch up and try to produce more content ahead of time. I keep saying that. I am joined today by my co-host, Nora, learner initiate to the Seventh Circle of Lore and journeyman storyteller. She has also summoned and provided me with her own familiar, Beth. You may recognize her from the hit TV show Rick and Morty. She has conjured this creature to take this particular form that she enjoys, and you can hear her cackles of madness in the back there as she learns the inner workings of the venerable, playable PlayStation 2. But today we are continuing on with the Witch's Guide. We are going on with the 8th level spells, and really, the more we advance, the more the witch levels up, the more we get into better and better spells, and it gets to be harder and harder to pick some that just aren't that great. Honestly, really the only metric we have is, again, well, I shouldn't say again, it's a certain amount of it does come down to more what you see as advantages and disadvantages, but from, again, as much of a mechanical standpoint as we get, which spells at 8th level are going to get you the most bang for your buck, or in this case, the most power and usage out of those precious spell slots. So, let's get cracking on here, shall we? Starting us off, for 8th level spells, we have the always excellent Resurrection. Now, the good about this spell, you can bring someone back who has died within 10 years per caster level. So you're going to have several decades to work with here. And it doesn't matter what the condition of the remains are. It could be the dust from somebody who had been hit with the disintegration spell. It could be a corpse that's mostly rotted. Hell, if they just show back up with the bone or the pinky toe from somebody who had died 50 years ago, you can bring them back. The creature will be immediately restored at full strength, hit points, spells, and any spell-like abilities or limited daily use abilities. The only bad thing about the bad things, I should say, not only. The creature gets 1 permanent negative level, and if they're only level 1, they take 2 points of constitution drain, so their constitution score just drops, and if they have only 2 or 1 for constitution score, you can't bring them back in that case. You also can't use this on someone who just died naturally of old age, and it also costs 1 diamond worth 10,000 gold pieces. That's kind of spendy, and that material component is kind of rare. It can make it a bit dicey. Also, while this is an excellent and incredible spell to have available for memorization, store it away within your familiar, this kind of does fall in the way of the hex that you can pick up that allows you to basically do the same thing without using up any of your spell slots. It's one of those things that definitely seems a bit more like one or the other, and if I had to choose, I'd rather go with the hex rather than the spell slot. But if you don't pick up the hex, then this spell gets to be even better. And even if you get both, you know what? It means you get at least 2 different shots of resurrection that you can use on your party, and that doesn't hurt at all. Taking 1 negative level does, but you know what? I'm sure the players would rather have their character come back to life and be able to fight, adventure, and go on and regain that level than stay dead permanently. And speaking of staying dead and trying to come back, Clone. Clone is really great, and this is going to be really great for you witches out there looking to make some enduring creature that just lasts throughout the ages. You're no longer going to be considered mortal if you keep using the spell over and over. It takes 10 minutes to cast, so it's nothing you're going to be using in combat, and you need 1 cubic inch of non-rotting flesh or some kind of material. It can't be scales, can't be toenails or anything like that. It has to be the meaty bits. And then you take that during the spell and you grow this in the lab for 2d 4 months. It has to have a particular receptacle for it. How that shakes out is going to depend largely on you and your storyteller. But the clone is kept as a lifeless husk in stasis until the original body dies. Then, like if it were a phylactery, the soul goes right back to the clone. You take 2 negative levels, but you know what? If the choice was having died and possibly staying dead, again, eating 2 negative levels is not that terrible a thing. But it is important to note, only your body is regrown, none of the gear that you have. So, if you are planning on making a comeback and going out and taking revenge on whatever foolish thing decided it was going to try to put you down in the dirt for good, you're going to want to have some backup gear in place. So, quietly spirit away some of the gear that the party's been collecting or has been trying to sell. Say, oh no, a thief took it. Whatever you need to do, make sure you have some gear stashed back at a safe place where you are keeping this clone safely hidden away. And, you know, if you want to be nice enough to provide clones for the rest of your party, well, hey, good on you. Good looking out for your friends there. But with that said, you need a way to keep things safe. You need to keep your home location secure, and you have plenty of other spells to do that, but this will help as well, and that is the maze spell. It's another one of those spells that operates in that close range that witches just seem to love, that is not healthy at all for the squishy types. 25-foot range plus 5 feet per level. You get 1 target, no saving throw whatsoever. You trap the target in an extra-dimensional space. They can make DC 20 intelligence saves in order to try to escape, but it takes full round actions, and it's each round on their turn that this occurs. If they don't save at all, this spell will end after 10 minutes. The only creatures that this really does not affect, or at least that it explicitly says it doesn't affect, are Minotaur. Minotaur just navigate their way through maze spells innately. This is not going to slow or hinder them in any way, shape, or form. But, that said, say you make friends with some Minotaur. Say you have them in an area that is affected by this spell. If your DM is kind enough to let you make this spell as part of an area. Maybe you have to put in some extra preparation, whatever. Point is, you're going to have a couple of creatures that are not hindered by this spell being able to chase and hunt down creatures that are. An added layer of defense for your home. Perfect, perfect, perfect. But from there, we go on further to, again, my favorite class of spells for any spellcaster, Summon Monster 8. And you know the drill on this by now. You're going to summon 1 creature from the level 8 list or 1d3 from the previous successive spells. And you get things like Barbed Devils, Elder Elementals, Frost Giants, or Gorgons. There is nothing to not like here. All of these creatures have some degree of either incredible ability or their own spell-like abilities, or even some spell casting. Throwing these in is going to absolutely help tip the scales on the battlefield. And then we come up to Prediction of Failure. Again, another close range spell, 25 feet plus 5 for every 2 levels that you have as a spellcaster. It's 1 target, and this is permanent or 1 round per level. Will save will make the partial effect there. You hit the target of visions of every failure it will ever meet in its life, real or imagined. Whichever is the case is up to the DM. It's probably going to be a mix of both. This will leave the target permanently shaken and sickened. So double negative status effects there on your target. Or it'll last 1 round for every level you have if it saves. So, 10, 12 plus rounds, 14 rounds of being sickened and shaken. This is great. Although, at this high of a level, the penalties may not be super helpful. It is nice that this can be made permanent on the target. And you know what? Debuffing the enemy is never, ever a bad thing. It can only help. Maybe it only helps by incremental margins, but it still helps. And we have Mind Blank, another great defensive spell. Another one of those close range deals. One target is the target, and it will last for 24 hours. The subject will be protected from any attempt to magically scry them, discern their location, whatever. They will be rendered undetectable, even from spells like Wish or Miracle when they're used specifically to locate a target. Now, are there ways around this? Not explicitly written, but some creative players or DMs may get around it. But even still, this is still a hard one to beat. It's great to have, especially the big drawback is you're probably never going to be 100% certain on when somebody is using this on you. Well, until they've already tried to use some sort of scrying or detection spell on you. So that can make it a little bit tricky, but having this on hand along with some item creation, you can start making medallions or crowns or something, some kind of magic item to help render you undetectable. I see Nora has brought along her bard companion, little toy Moana. This is incredibly helpful and fortuitous on our part, because you know what? I've been needing and meaning to add music into the background of these videos for some time now. But I don't know if this is quite what I had intended, but you know what? Thank you, my young apprentice, my little journeyman. This is incredibly helpful. And she brought me the clothed version as well. We maintain our PG rating. Actually, no, I swear a little bit too much. It's probably PG-13 if I'm lucky. So, now, from Mind Blank, we go to Mass Charm Monster. Again, close range, 25 feet, plus 5 every 2 levels. You target 1 or more humanoid creatures, no 2 of which can be more than 30 feet apart. It will last 1 hour a level, so incredible duration here. And you can affect a number of creatures whose combined hit dice can't exceed twice your own. So, you can get 1 or 2 high hit die creatures on your side, or a bunch of mid to low hit dice creatures. Either way, you get more creatures on your side that you can start directing around to being a bit more helpful for you. Absolutely great to have, especially if your party doesn't want to waste a whole lot of resources, or you need that extra bit of heavy hitting muscle on your side in order to power through the next challenge. Again, great spell to have. The only problem I have with it is, again, close range, so you got to be somewhat near your targets, and you may not ensnare all of them, but whoever you're hitting with your hexes to force them to re-roll their saves, you're more likely to get them on your side. So pick out the toughest, meanest looking target with a likely low will save score, and have them just go to town on the NPCs in your way. And we start going down again in descending tiers of quality. We come to Destruction. I kind of like this one a lot, and I tried not to rate it too high. My personal biases might be slipping in here a little bit, so take this for what you will. Actually, the whole video, again, grain of salt, build your character to how you want them. But Destruction, again, another close range, 1 creature, fortitude save for partial effect, and spell resistance does apply on this one. The spell deals 10 points of damage per caster level, and if this spell kills the target, their remains are totally and utterly destroyed, and they can only be brought back with a true resurrection or wish spell, which is also then followed up by regular resurrection or the miracle spell. That's some pretty high-end potent magic to be using here. Although, thing is, whatever target you're using this spell on, they're probably either going to have friends, acquaintances, allies, or people indebted to them with some degree of high-level magic to bring them back. But, given the rarity of components and such high-end spells, that takes time to prepare and put together. Maybe what you need is a break from whatever big bad has been harassing you for forever, and you need to wait just to make sure they stay down for just a little bit longer while you rest, recuperate, get your lives together, or just go down and enjoy some tea and crumpets in peace. She's developing her skills as a bard. It's adorable, and I wholeheartedly endorse this little one. Yeah. Where are we going? I can't go yet. I have to keep recording, littles. but I'll follow you after this. Now, we come to Umbral Infusion Mass. So, Umbral Infusion, again, close range. You can see it on the picture there. You get multiple targets within 30 feet. And it lasts 1 minute per level. Will save, will negate, but you're probably not going to be using this on all creatures with much in the way of will saves. You give mindless undead +2 on all rolls, including damage and ability difficulties. They get a +4 bonus to their armor class, their combat maneuver defense, and 2 extra hit points per hit die. It also makes the undead 50% likely to resist control and commands. So, why is this spell on this list? Well, it's one of those that's... I like it, but it's a good example of one that at an 8th level spell is probably not that great and may not be worth your time, but damn does it ever just fit a witch character. Also, this does have a particular use that makes it just a tad bit more useful than useless never pick up. If you're fighting an enemy necromancer, some kind of undead like a lich or a vampire with an ability to control undead, and they have mindless undead under their control, use this spell on them. You're empowering their creatures, but you're making the creatures more likely to resist commands. Also, if these are just a bunch of wandering undead that may come under somebody's control, empowering them may not be a bad plan either. You have a cleric, paladin, or hell, even a ranger or a really good fighter on hand. These buffs are not going to do much to make the undead that much more durable. So, throwing this on to make them harder for enemy casters to control and making them a bit tougher, there's nothing wrong with that. Having fewer for sure minions in the way is definitely a good thing. And you know, maybe you can, if you have the spells or if you have a necromancer of your own, maybe they have a chance of snagging a few that the enemy caster has lost control of. Plus, it just kind of, again, fits that witch motif, that particular aesthetic, that certain je ne sais quoi. But, you know, that's up to you whether or not you find this useful or find use for it. And last but not least, again, another one that just really, really fits that particular aesthetic for the witch character class, and that is Death Clutch. Another close range spell, again, only one creature, fortitude save for partial effect, and again, spell resistance applies. You chant constantly with this arcane, terrifying, unknowable pitch and language and pacing, and you rip the target's heart from their chest. If they have 200 hit points or less, they are reduced to negative hit points equal to your caster level or your constitution score -1, whichever is less. And it has certain decreasing effects from there, but if the target's... Here's where it gets to be a bit problematic. The creature is not immediately dead from this. They are staggered until the start of your next turn, then they die. Now, again, this fits so much with your classic terrifying witch, just ripping hearts from chests and causing all kinds of destruction and mayhem, just horrific grisly deaths. It's gruesome as all hell, and it just fits. I love it. But the target's just staggered. That means they have a chance at saving themselves. The regeneration spell will completely counteract this by regrowing the heart. And whatever you're using this on, they may well have a spellcaster or be a spellcaster themselves and able to save themselves by regrowing their heart. Plus, this is only going to work on living targets. So, demons, devils, angels, devas, any number of creatures from the infinite array of cosmos out there. The undead, elementals, they are not going to be affected by this spell in the least. But their mortal servants would be, and that is handy in and of itself. So, and again, this spell just seems to fit so well for the witch. Certainly, I would consider picking this up, but that's up to you. Certainly for myself, I like this spell. But with that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. I've got a bit more packing to do. As you can see, the Gamer's Den is looking a bit threadbare and bare bones, but we will be going on and hopefully setting up very soon. Thank you all for your time, your patience, and you all have a good night.